What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live. It is a Heat Dome episode of Lions Talk Live this Monday. And yes, if you know anybody out there working outside today, yesterday, or maybe the next couple of days, you may want to buy them a glass of water, maybe a delicious Mountain Dew or something in between, because as y'all probably know, it's hot outside. We're going to dive into a little bit of a topic today, talking about hot topics. We're going to dive into a topic about how the Detroit Lions organization's future, their results, all hinged on one very big decision, at least if you're talking about the current version of the Detroit Lions we've enjoyed in the last few years, how the Detroit Lions won by actually losing. We're going to save that for the main topic of the show. We'll get into 5 headlines now. We also have a little bit of an announcement for everybody. We have something that's probably a little bit overdue, something that will be, I think, unique to this channel or show. Maybe other people do it. I guess I really don't know, but I don't think they do. So we're going to announce something. We're going to start the first ever Do Crew Hall of Fame. And what that means is we are going to nominate, you guys are going to be a part of the process, people to be in the Do Crew Hall of Fame. Yes, you get a gold jacket or something like that. I don't know. But hey, this show's been on long enough where some of you guys, you've been OGs, you've been around for a long minute, you're here every day. I figured why not introduce a Hall of Fame. I'll have to figure out what that all means, how to implement it, and everything in between. But I thought it'd be something kind of cool to kind of give back to the Duke Crew community and have a little fun with it, especially during times like now where it's, right before the season starts, things are a little bit slower. Hey, give everybody a bit of a pat on the back. All right, real quick, before we get into the 5 headlines now, before we get into the main topic of the day, before you all try to run to stay cool today, a couple real quick things. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that march for 13,900, and we're about 50 some odd subs away. If you can assist with this, that would be most awesome of you and welcomed. Second, but definitely not least, if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in this great state of Michigan, give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. If you're outside of the state of Michigan, I can still help you out. You just got to give me a call, shoot me a text. Got to work on a few things a little bit differently, but we can take care of you. Hey, I've been in the industry for over 30 years. If you want somebody who's not going to overcharge you, not going to beat you up with fees, make sure this company, that company, the whatever company isn't overcharging you. Hey, you probably want somebody who's going to watch your back. I always like to say I like to work hard so you don't have to. Hey, to me, that's part of the job. Also, if you have a second of time, reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button, all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. So if you can help out with that, hey, you'd be helping to make my day. All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's get the show rocking and rolling and going and kicking off with 5 headlines now. So, yes, a Do Crew Hall of Fame. I'll try to work on that and get you guys some more information in the next couple days. I think it's a good idea, but if you guys think it's a terrible idea, by all means, let me know. All right, Do Crew Hall of Fame. Let's go with 5 headlines now. Lions are sitting on a breakout star, and league has no idea. Sideline report by Candace Paredes. So, could this be accurate? I think there's probably a lot of accuracy to it, although it might take a little time for it to reveal itself. Most of us understand Tate Ratledge was brought on in to be an offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. No big news flash there. What we probably didn't understand when he was originally traded up for and acquired by Detroit is that the Lions already had a pretty good idea this guy, A, was going to be pretty good, and B, probably going to be a replacement for Frank the Tank Ragnow. Yes, Graham Glasgow may ultimately win the starting center spot this year, but it does seem like for more and more subtle comments made by the Detroit Lions coaching staff, he is the long-term ideal replacement for Frank Ragnow. We get it. Ragnow's body just isn't what it once was. He decided to retire, even though it looks like the Lions have a legitimate shot for being the NFL's number one team this year, let alone going for a Super Bowl. Whatever we can say, there are expectations growing for a lot of this Lions rookie class. Yes, Tesla gets a lot of thoughts and praise headlines. Ahmed Hassanin, we all get it, man. This guy's got everybody on planet Earth, HBO, Hard Knocks, everybody else paying attention to him because they all want those moments where we think he's going to break out, say something. He's got the personality, he's got the smile. But what you're seeing from this Lions rookie class early, before training camp starts, is that there's a lot of promise, a lot of upside to him. Could this guy, Tate Ratledge actually end up being a star in the making? I think so. He's got the ideal personality traits, in my opinion, for an offensive lineman. We all get it. He likes to hit. He likes to grind. He likes to drop elbows. I mean, he's a physical guy and likes to impose that physicality on people. So when we get to training camp in about 4 weeks, we're probably going to see him really compete for that spot. Could he be a guard? Could be a center? I don't know. He's going to get out there and win a spot one way or the other. And my anticipation is way too early. He will be a starter at one position or the other. And if he's as good as advertised with the coaching of this coaching staff to develop him, probably by the middle of the year, he might have the possibility to be one of the league's, better guards. I'm not going to say top 10 or anything like that. I don't want to put that kind of expectations out there. But let's be fair. If he's in the top 20, 25 of guards in the NFL as a rookie, that means the rest of his career is pretty much up and away. Also mean the Lions offensive line is probably going to be a dominant unit for another half decade or so between him, Christian Mahogany, Penei Sewell. You get it. There's a lot of good young talent there, and that doesn't even include Giovanni Manu being out there. Lions general manager Brad Holmes will be talking about a little bit today in a couple of these headlines. Talk about part of the Lions' reasoning for moving off Kevin Zeitler. Said Zeitler was a great player, phenomenal guard. Yes, they made him an offer, but at the end of the day, they weren't horribly, beat up by the fact that he decided to be closer to his family. Lions had a plan in place to bring in somebody they think long-term could be 100% like Kevin Zeitler. We'll have to wait and see because that's some high praise. Zeitler, in my opinion, he was one of the top 2 or 3 guards in the NFL last year. All right, way too long with that one, but Gridiron Gang, Nolan, Rich picked top Lions on offense, defense, Detroit News. Not going to spend much time on this at all because I think most of us understand this story. Detroit News, hey, you got some longtime guys who've covered these teams for a gajillion years. And yes, as you can see with this, Nolan Blanchie and Rich Olins with the Detroit News, they picked Aiden Hutchinson and Penei Sewell as the top offense and defensive player for the Detroit Lions. I don't think most of us are going to debate that. Penei Sewell, is it always easy with an offensive lineman? Probably not. I get, quarterbacks, skilled position players are going to get more headlines. But also when we did the top 200, at least my top 200 of the NFL this year, I did have Penei Sewell number 10. Yes, I wanted to move him just from a skill standpoint, just from a product on the field standpoint. I thought he should actually be higher on the list. It's just he doesn't affect the game enough, in my opinion, as a non-quarterback to really be in the top 5 or top 8 or whatever. And I think that's the problem with it. Aiden Hutchinson, probably the only thing keeping him off most people's list, whether you're a Detroit beat reporter, USA Today, or whoever else, is the fact that he missed so much time last year because of the injuries. Either way, I think we get it. The Lions have what appears to be 2 very prominent generational talents, both on offense and defense. Check out the story if you want more information on this one. All right, Lions training camp and preseason. Early thoughts on a big Detroit summer story by Jeff Risdon, Lions Wire. Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied twisted there, but hey, I'll power through it. So Jeff Risdon covers this team full-time. You guys all get it. You know it. The biggest thing he points out for the Lions between now and training camp is replacing Frank Ragnow. That's probably something we're going to hear throughout the next month, leading into training camp, and then even in the early portions of the regular season. Ragnow, a generational Pro Bowl, all-pro center, so we get it. There's very few better than him. How they're going to replace him, we've already talked about Tate Ratledge to some degree. Yes, Graham Glasgow is going to be in the running, and there are a few other players on the list. In my personal thoughts, doesn't have to be your thoughts. It's going to be one of those two guys out there starting. I don't see somebody else getting it. Maybe somebody does, but we'll have to wait and see. Next one on the, Jeff Risdon's list for things to address before the start of training camp. Can Hendon Hooker take the next step? This will be a big question, and we did this as the main topic today last week for one of the shows. Hooker's got all the physical skills. We get that, but for whatever reason, maybe the Lions still have some question marks about him. If he can really be the guy to make the entire team, front office, coaching staff feel good about him backing up Jared Goff, then the Lions don't have to go out and try to acquire somebody else. Kyle Allen, we already know, didn't impress a ton at OTAs. Now, there's a big difference between OTAs and the preseason games, but if the Lions don't feel good about the backup quarterback spot going into the regular season, they might have to make a move to try to shore it up, because if something happens to Goff and you really feel like this is the year we can have a big shot run in the postseason, maybe get to the Super Bowl, you need to make sure that backup quarterback spot is correct. I know a bunch of you guys are going to be all over this one. Jeff Risdon says the third on his list is Marcus Davenport as the starting edge opposite Aiden Hutchinson. We all get it. If he has some abilities, he can shut down the run. He can get after the quarterback. He's got size. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He just can't stay healthy. And that's all I'm going to spend on that one, because we've talked about it ad nauseum. Wide receiver depth. I think this one's probably a bigger role for the team than most of us realize, because, hey, we've got some real good receivers on this team, obviously. Now, who's going to make it? Who's going to not? There are some reports we've seen in the last month or so of this year that maybe the Lions are thinking about moving off Khalif Raymond. I don't really know if that's going to be the case, because he is so prominent in special teams and he has speed. If you're going to run a vertical game offense, which it seemed Morton wants to implement more and more of, speed doesn't hurt, because you know what? Speed kills. If you can't keep up with me, I'm going to go blow by you. The only downside to Khalif Raymond, really, two factors, I would say. He doesn't have huge size. You guys get that. And then, of course, he, in the last few years, has been a little bit beat up from time to time, and that is not a good trend to have. If you're thinking about maybe some gimmick plays, also a footnote from Jeff Risdon, Isaac Tesla did play some wing team quarterback in high school, did a little bit of it at Hillsdale College, quarterbacking and throwing. So could the Lions potentially use him in some sort of gimmick offense role where he's rolling out and throwing? I think most Lions fans after the playoff game with Washington Commanders last year do not want to see wide receivers throwing passes down the field anymore. I've been wrong before, though. There are a lot of people still talking about undrafted rookie quarterback Jackson Meeks, wide receiver Jackson Meeks. Of course, Tom Kennedy is always going to be on the list. Who makes it? I don't know. Contract talks, another thing you're probably having to pay attention to. The Lions make any signings with Aiden Hutchinson or somebody else, Jameson Williams, before the start of training camp? We'll have to wait and see. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. That was a long one. Open thread. Which 2025 Lions Day 3 draft pick will have the best career? Question mark. SB Nation story by Jeremy Risman. Whew, this is a big debate, and let's be fair, it's all speculation, because right now we don't know. But, hey, Day 3 picks for you guys to try to debate with the story. Miles Frazier, Ahmed Hassanin, Dan Jackson, and Dominic Lovick. According to this reporter, we've got Miles Frazier seems like he would be the highest among the group just because his positional value, where he was projected to originally go before the actual draft happened, et cetera, et cetera. But per this report, there are more and more people starting to think just because of aspects you can't teach, you can't coach, it might be Hassanin. And I think most of you watching would probably agree with it. I hate talking about the same stuff, it seems like all the time. But Ahmed's got the right personality traits. He's got the clear God-given athleticism. Now he just needs to be coached up. Could Dan Jackson, his downside, we've talked about before, his downside is he just doesn't have any real playing experience other than 1 year, his senior year in college, where he actually played. Before that, he spent 3 years basically being a special teamer, as a backup, etc. Dominic Lovett's got a lot of nice things to like. It's just whether or not he latches on with this team or any other team to get enough opportunity to grow and develop. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But it sounds like right now the betting favorites are going to either be Frazier or Hassanin. So wait and see which one does. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who do you think out of these, couple guys, these 4 guys, who do you think ends up having the better NFL career? All right, last one here. NFL Power Rankings, ranking the best GMs in the league for 2025 NFL Spin Zone. And this is a prelude to the main top of the day. So the two are kind of connected just for you guys' thoughts. Here we go, though. We're going to go ahead and throw this at you. We'll start at number 10 in the Power Rankings for NFL GMs. George Payton, Denver Broncos. And I'd say in his only a couple seasons in the NFL with the Broncos, he's done a pretty good job. Nick Castro, Houston Texans, also another guy who's helped revitalize a franchise quickly. Both of these guys, I think what you see in common is you see a downtrodden franchise. You came in and you got some quick success. That probably gets people to put eyes on you when you turn things around quickly. Brent Veach, Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, no small feat. This guy maybe should be higher on the list, at least in my opinion, because you've had, you could say, a franchise that's been one of the most dominant in the NFL, if not the most dominant, for most of the last decade. And you've been able to maintain it with the salary cap, with draft, with losing guys to free agency or trade. That's no small feat to keep things moving and keep going at the same pace while not having a drop-off. Hey, Brett probably needs a little bit of a pat on the back. Boy, I always kill his name. Afuso Mesa from the Minnesota Vikings. And yeah, I know I'm probably not even close on the pronunciation, but forgive me on that. I murder names regularly on here. What I like about what he's done is the fact that when you got rid of Kirk Cousins, there probably should have been a drop-off. But you know what? He hit on Sam Darnold. Whether you like the Vikings or not, Sam Darnold, you signed him for peanuts, and you got maximum return on that investment. Remember, going into last year, a lot of people had the Vikings as like a 4 or 5, maybe a 6-win team. Obviously, winning 14 games egregiously supersedes that. Some of his trades haven't worked out, and yes, the Lions selfishly have been the beneficiaries of that. But we can also say if he hits with J.J. McCarthy, if this team really is right for the next 3 or 4 years before his rookie deal expires, they've got a whole lot of good talent on this team and a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract they can maintain for a while. We'll have to wait and see. Adam Peters, Washington Commanders. I'd say, probably a bit of a no-brainer here because Peters, sort of like other guys we talked about on this list, took a franchise that was not doing well by any stretch of the imagination and helped them rise on up. You hit right on the right quarterback, clearly, where the Chicago Bears are probably wishing they would have taken Jaden Daniels, but it is what it is. You're not always going to hit things right. They also made a couple other good moves. It is quite possible the Washington Commanders become one of the NFC's best for the foreseeable future. Brandon Beane, Buffalo Bills, not going to spend a lot of time on this one, sort of like Kansas City Chiefs. They've been dominant or dominating their division, AFC, etc., for a better part of a decade. They took a big shot on their quarterback. It paid off. So you know what? Because of it, you're probably getting some rewards. Eric Descota, Baltimore Ravens. It's never easy following in somebody who's a Hall of Famer or even just successful's footsteps. But let's be fair. That's what he's done with the Baltimore Ravens. He's taken over for them, and he's kept the ship going forward. They got to win some playoff games, though. They got to get the Super Bowl. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. We all get it. You're judged by if you win in this league or any league. And the Baltimore Ravens, while he's maintained the show there, they haven't also improved. Les Snead, the LA Rams. I hate to say it, but we'll be talking about this during the main top of the day just because Snead, he put in all those chips, moved all those draft picks, got a Super Bowl, said you skipped those picks, and it paid off. Then you had the deep dive fall off for about a year or two, but they've risen back up very quickly and on mid or late round picks. A lot of times people like to say, man, if you don't have first round, second round, third round pick, you're not going to be successful in the NFL. Snead has proven otherwise. Because remember, for about 2 straight years, all they had were, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, and they've hit on a ton of those guys. All right, well, one of the main topics of the day today, or the main topic of the day, Brad Holmes, Detroit Lions. It is perhaps the biggest thing in all sports. Prior to 5 years ago, everybody would say the worst franchise in all pro sports is the Detroit Lions. I remember Kevin Hart calling out Tom Brady when he was looking for a new team after, getting switched from, was it New England Patriots, Tampa Bay? Hey, Kevin Hart called him out in a podcast where he said, you want to really prove you're the GOAT? Go resonate with the Detroit Lions, resurrect that franchise, etc. Tom Brady just kind of nervously smiled and moved on to the next question. But that, I think most of us watching the show probably get it. Until 5 years ago, the Lions were not well thought of, not a destination anybody wanted to go to. If you had any kind of ability to sign with another team in the NFL as a free agent, you were doing so. And let's also be fair, that extended to the front office. If you really felt like you had some abilities, you had any kind of leverage to go sign somewhere else, you did just that. But Brad Holmes saw opportunity with the Detroit Lions. He thought he had an option here to help turn a franchise around. Only thing from my personal experience I can tell you is all the different places I've coached over the years, I enjoy taking the downtrodden team and pushing them up. It's just, to me, it's more, I guess, of a challenge. I enjoy it more, and it seems like that's what happened with Brad Holmes. He's number 2 on the list, but there could be a lot of reasons you could say he's number 1 on the list, because when you take a franchise that's been so bad for so long and you make them Super Bowl contenders, that's no small feat. All right, number 1 on this list, probably not a big surprise, Moses, Howie Roseman, Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not going to say it's a bad move having him number 1. I think it's all debatable, but Howie Roseman has also had his own footprint on the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, we can all say he took over a franchise that's won Super Bowls, made it to Super Bowls in decades just before him getting there. And also being true, he's done something most people haven't. He found value with a whole lot of guys that other people said, nah, we're not taking them, or we don't see that value. He's hit on some gambles, and you know what? Because of that, they are Super Bowl champs. All right, went on with the 5 headlines. Now way too long, longer than anticipated. But so let's get on over to the next aspect of the show. And as you know, that is the main topic of the day. All right, let's rewind the clock here a little bit for this story and go back to 2003. Matt Millen is destroying, and yeah, I hate saying it, but destroying the Detroit Lions. Remember, in the late 90s, well, let's just say throughout the 90s, the Lions were a pretty dang good franchise. And then, yes, the late 90s, the Chicago Bears hit a field goal, keep us from getting the playoffs. And because of that, William Clay Ford, who I thought was a great human being, maybe not great at running the Detroit Lions, but a great human being, very loyal to all of his employees. And I suspect that wasn't just Ford Field or, Detroit Lions employees, but people with the Ford Motor Company or whatever other companies they have. Decides to make a change because of that missed kick. He brings in Matt Millen, and it's a downtrodden time. Did you know in 2003, Brad Holmes was with the NBA's Atlanta Hawks? He was as a PR intern, making peanuts, just trying to get into pro sports, and he did for a while. And then he tried to get into the NFL. Didn't have some success there. Eventually, though, did break through and get a job with the Rams at the time, St. Louis Rams. Spent a lot of time in the PR departments there, then kind of slowly working his way up through the Rams. Eventually got to the point where he was offered a PR job with the Detroit Lions. And he initially took that job. This is around 2009 when he took this job or accepted the job with the Detroit Lions. Now, you're going to say to me, well, Dan, I don't remember him working for the Detroit Lions before. And you are correct, because right before he packed his bags and flew over to Detroit, he decided, or talked to the Rams again, and the Rams offered him a little bit better job. He decided to turn down the Detroit Lions job ultimately because he did a deep dive study of the Rams and the Lions, and here's what he came up with. Lions do not typically hire their interns into longer-term positions. He did notice about half the time the Rams do. So he placed his bets and bet on the Rams that he could improve upon his situation more by being with the Rams, that he could make an impression with them that he needs a more permanent job, not an interim job there. And he was right. He did end up getting it. And so we all know he elevated through the ranks, became an assistant GM, played a big part in the Rams winning their last Super Bowl, making the Super Bowl before that. So, I guess you can see with the main topic of the day today, the thumbnail, Detroit won by losing. If he would have came over to the Lions then, how differently would this franchise be? Would he even have been in the conversation for a GM? Well, stats in the history of the Lions suggest the answer is easily no. They do not typically hire from within. They do not promote to a general manager spots assistant general manager spots, etc., their own interns, their own staff. You can have your own thoughts on it. Mine are mine. I would say this. I think that's a bad move by any organization. Nobody knows you better than the people already inside the building. So far too often, people look at the grass on the other side and say, that's more green. Let's go with that versus who we already have. But what we can all agree upon is by Brad Holmes turning down that offer with the Detroit Lions, staying there, he got an opportunity to develop, elevate, understand the general manager position and all the details that go with it. Spent a lot of time becoming a scout with him, and he was trying for, it seems, about 20 years to really become an NFL scout. Just being a scout for basketball, as most of you guys know, let me tell you, it's not an easy job to get, and it's even a harder job to maintain. I can only tell you from my personal experience, you've got to be right on nearly 98% of your picks. So if I make a recommendation on player A to league A or B or C, and that player doesn't pan out, maybe you can be wrong once every couple years, because people aren't going to trust you otherwise. Brad Holmes clearly became known throughout the league as having an eye for talent. Became a director of college scouting with the Rams, kept on elevating from there, moved up the ranks in the scouting department, got obviously involved with the trade negotiations, contract negotiations, player trades, the whole shebang bang. He became very good and subtly good at it to the point where the Rams, when he was offered a job for Detroit to become the GM, did not want to part ways with him. They tried to do what they could to keep him. But at that point, he felt like turning down a general manager's job, a head general manager's job in the NFL was just too enticing. The Rams tried more and more to get him and his family to be a part of the organization to maintain him. They could clearly identify the talent he had and the abilities he had. End of the day, though, when we were talking about earlier, nobody wanted to be a Detroit Lion. If you had any other opportunities, you went somewhere else. Brad Holmes saw true value in trying to rebuild this organization. And 5 years later, I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody who's done a better job in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever organization, to say that they've done a bigger turnaround than what Holmes has done. Let me know your thoughts on it, but I know long-suffering Lions fans, it would be hard to find a general manager in any of our lifetimes who's done a better job. If you've got someone, though, and there have been a couple of good ones for sure, I don't know if there's been a Brad Holmes type general manager, though. All right, Duke Crew, that's what I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of investigative reporting. Let's get on over to the comments section and see what you guys have to say about this topic, and maybe it's something else. So throw your thoughts in there. If you do have thoughts about the Duke Crew Hall of Fame, let me know. I think we can have some fun with that. Yes, I am still scrolling to the top of the screen to get to the comments section. Hopefully you're staying dry, safe, and out of the heat. Real quick shout out. Because of the heat, I should have talked about this at the start of the show. There are a whole lot of people that are out there working in this weather, and you know what? It ain't easy. I went and showed some houses yesterday. We happened to stop at McDonald's, and this obviously has nothing to do with the Lions. We stopped at McDonald's, and I felt horrible for those employees. The AC was out in the restaurant. The ice machine was broken because of the heat. Same with the soda pop thing, and the ice cream thing. And this poor girl at the counter, she was sweating bullets. And imagine being back by those grills. I told them all, man, you all need a pat on the back and maybe a delicious Mountain Dew or something, because you know what? It ain't easy working in the heat. It's even less easy working in a contained environment, producing even more heat. And a big shout out to all those people trying to fight through it today, tomorrow, and however long we got this thing. All right, Michael D, greetings, salutations, Coach of Duke Crew, exclamation point, one pride, woo, and back at you, JDC, morning all, boo, good morning, Duke Crew. This is the way of the villain, exclamation point, woo, and I agree with that. Moon Scarblade, good morning, Duke Crew, starting lineup, exclamation point. It's going a lot going on these days. As a reminder, no politics. Yes, politically free zone. I give everybody nowadays, I'll give you one or two warnings. I'm not going to do what I used to do months and years ago where I'd give you like 100 warnings. If you don't get it, then you know what? I can't help you. If you come in here and talk politics, I'll give you a warning, maybe two, but after that, you will get perma-banned. So try to understand, this is a Detroit Lions platform. You can talk about sports, maybe some arts, entertainment, or music or whatever. That's fine. But I ain't going to do politics. I ain't going to talk about religion. If you want to do that, I encourage you to do it. Just don't do it here. Find the appropriate platform for it. France, thanks for that, Moonscar. Yes, no more of that stuff. I know Dan doesn't like to drop the bans on people, but sometimes you have to. Yeah, and sometimes it's a double-edged sword, because I let a few people, I kept, say, hey, calm down. And then I had some people that were a part of the Duke Crew. yell and scream at me because I didn't ban them faster. And, you can't make everybody happy, man. Moonscar. That being said, music lyrics are always welcome. And on that note, I bring you Aerosmith. There's something wrong with the world today. I don't know what it is. Man, the world has been fighting with each other since the dawn of time, as far as I can tell. So who knows, man? Drake, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew, and back at you. So what do we win or lose? I guess I don't know. And no, you don't. And now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Bo, absolutely no politics. There's no for you, Pierce. There you go. We're starting the day off with a no. JDC, who was saying without a fight, let's not get to fighting. Yes, 100%. Johnny L, good morning, folks. Same to you. Bo, all good people, turn your heads. That's a yes. All right. Big Eddie, ever since Dan had that story about EA Sports placing the Cowboys and us as the same level, I keep searching for Lions ratings with Madden. I used to play the mess out of that game. Memories. Yeah, I think a lot of people probably watching the show did. I get not everybody does. But, man, I can remember playing on the old Atari 2600, football. I remember my brother Tim, my brother Kevin, going back to the 70s here. But they had that one metal platform. You put all the football guys on there, put the little ball in one of them, and it would kind of vibrate, and you watch the players move all around. I remember that. Remember them doing that all the time, man. Let's see, Drake, I spent more time playing that game in college than I should have. Yeah, probably a lot of us were in the same boat. Moscar, ditto on men. Used to record stats on paper before it became part of the game. Dynasty, before there was a Dynasty mode. Yeah, and I remember that one. There were a couple different games. I want to say there was one at the arcade. It was sort of like a version of NBA Jam where, basically you could blow people up and stuff. Cyberball was a big one, too. Stephanie, good morning, boys. I think everyone played that game. Yeah, probably a lot of us did. I know a bunch of us did. As long as I can remember, people have debated those Madden ratings of teams and players. Yeah, and you can see over the last, whatever it is, 30 or 40 years, it's gotten to the players, too. You are personally elevated if your rating's pretty high, or you feel like you are affronted if your rating isn't what you think it should be. So, there's the good and the bad of it. Let's see, Jess, greetings, salutations, Dooku. Wasn't there an NFL owner last year or the year before who based a trade on Madden's ratings? ? I remember something about that. I do remember something about, I don't remember what team. Gosh, you're testing my memory here. But yes, there was a general manager who said, hey, we don't want to make this trade because look at this guy's Madden ratings. And I think the guy ended up being pretty dang good, but his ratings in the game at that time weren't. So, people do put a lot of validity into it. And to be fair, the guys that do the ratings, it's been over a decade since I helped out with it, but they do a real good job doing the best they can with it. They do the analytics to the nth degree on these guys. They spend some real time with it. Brett, good morning. Dan Naduku, can't wait for this year's camp battles. Oh yeah, I'm down with that. Moodscar. All I know is that when the real Lions stink on Sundays, kicking that team's butt on Madden that day sure helped the heartache. There you go. Go away. Yeah, 100%. You get a little bit of revenge. And I know some people do it where during the games where they show the Madden game. I've just never figured out how to do it and basically emulate what's actually happening on the field. But when it comes to Madden, I'm like Howard Cosell. I never played the game. There you go. Yeah, some people did, some people haven't. I do think, probably most people from, I guess if you grew up as a teen or whatever in the 80s or 90s, there's probably a few different video games you did. Before that, like I said, I remember my brother Tim and Kevin playing different stuff. France, yep, ! I can remember that. I was the Browns. Yeah, it might have been the Browns. I really don't remember who general manager messed that up. Or owner, whoever it was. Moonscar, I think I just wrote a country song lyrics. You might want to write it down and keep it. Johnny L, what do you got? Man, it is dang hot over here. Yeah, let me tell you, in this room, it's not the hugest room, and I got the lights on, plus I got the computer on. Let me tell you, I can feel the heat a little bit. Just AK, real OGs will love this. Tech Mobile, mic drop. Yes, that was the game. Before Madden, there was Tech Mobile, and I don't know why they kind of imploded and went away, but man, everybody loved the mess out of that game. Man Bear, good morning. Back at shoot. JDC, Moonscar Blade. It's a tearjerker. Yes, it is. Great song, my friend. Great song. Brent, Tech Mobile, ! Thumbs up. Yes, that man, I can remember. Whoo! People racing home from school to play that game, man, and they would have some tournaments and everything would line up. All right, you're gonna play this guy, you're taking this team, the whole shebang bang. Jess, what up? Good morning, crew fam, and yes, Jess, yes, it is. ! Be careful, people. Pray for your lawn services, people. Yeah, if you're out there doing lawn services, I can remember as a teen and maybe early 20s in college doing a lot of lawn stuff. And yeah, it wears on you pretty dang fast. If you're out there during this stuff, man, just be careful. Moonscar Blade, Tecmo Bowl, Jackson cheat mode. Yes, there was that, man. I want to say there was the New York Giants. I can't remember their tight end's name, but he would run a curl route. It was like unstoppable. Susan Scotts, good morning, all. What do we win or lose? Question mark. Stay hydrated, everyone. Yes, keep some fluids in you. And hopefully you know by now, but it is Brad Holmes. By him turning us down and staying with the Rams, we probably ultimately won. France, Moonscar, Steve Young to Jerry Rice. That was a good one, 100%. JDC, hotter than X? Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. Tori, oh my gosh, my dad used to play those games over and over. I remember growing up having to wait in lines for him to buy that year's version of whatever game it was for football. Yep, there was part of that too. Back when you used to actually stand in lines for games. Now I think most people can just download them online. But yeah, I can remember there used to be a group of 20 of us. There was a Madden league, and we had, drafts. You could do trades, the whole shebang. I mean, we would spend an entire day working on the draft, everybody negotiating your trades and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun back in the day. Johnny L, Sonic and Knuckles, Thunder and Lightning. I got to agree with that. JDC, laughing out loud, Tori. I was that dad too. Yeah, there are probably a few of us that were that dad. Troy River, it's so dang hot. Milk was a bad choice. Yeah, be careful with what you choose to drink. Phil, good morning, and back at you. Jedi Sith music. It's nasty out. Someone needs to get rid of the heat dome. Yeah, I don't remember up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago there ever being the terminology heat dome. So I don't know what it really means other than it's hot as heck in that area. The non-laughers, good morning. Dan, the Duke Crew starters, exclamation point, back at you. Trim Reaper, my AC broke thanks to Davenport. Man, you better blame Davenport for that. Steve Rogers, Phil, said in my Norm Cheers voice. Hey, I see what you did there. Phil, Steve, there you go. Brent, DDI, yes, Davenport did it. So along, hey, did Z sign with us? Question mark. On Facebook yesterday, there was an Alliance group saying he had. I can't find that anywhere, though. It's almost funny to say that. The Sarge, Tony Libretto, sent me something last night saying, hey, he was seeing all over Facebook that Za'Darius Smith signed with the Detroit Lions. And I was like, man, did I miss it? Because normally, if I do miss something, like my brother Tim or, some of you guys in the Duke Crew send it over to me. I was like, it's eerily silent. So I tried to look for it. I couldn't find anything. The Sarge sent me over the Facebook chat group or whatever reporting it. Only thing I can say is I'm not aware of him signing yet with us. JDC, Puff, woo, Coffee, and Lions Talk Live back at chat. Let's see, just DDI, this heat. Yes, maybe Davenport's behind the heat. 5 figures running, and it's hot like this a few more days until, and still makes you wonder how people handled this 100 to 200 years ago. Laughing out loud, skip that. Yeah, it was funny because when it was so hot yesterday, Jen and I, when we were driving around the car, we were talking about what did people do before AC. Man, that give them some credit, whatever they did. Miles Barker, greetings, salutations, coach and crew. Intriguing topic for this off-season Monday. Nice. Hey, trying to find what I can for you guys for sure. Trim Reaper, good morning, coach and crew. Woo! Back at you. Johnny L, we are going to dominate this year. I think we are. I think it's going to be a good year for us. Jim DD is out there blowing hot air. He'll run out of breath Tuesday evening. Let's hope so. I hope he does. Hassanin Madali, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Back at you, my friend. Hopefully you're having a good afternoon in Cairo. JC Gilly, good morning, Coach and crew, exclamation point. Sorry I missed the show yesterday. No worries, man. No worries at all. Just, hey, have a good day, whatever you're doing. Brent, good morning, Mr. Hassanin. Rondo in North Carolina, talking about somebody I haven't seen in a minute. The Detroit-LA trade should go down as the best win-win trade of all time. There's a whole lot of truth to that when it comes to the Stafford Goff thing. I don't think anybody really won. I don't think anybody really lost. I remember talking to a buddy of mine, Brad, and a bunch of people when the trade first happened. In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, doesn't have to be your opinion, I thought Goff and Stafford were very, very similar. Not in how they play the game, but their overall production. Stafford's clearly got a howitzer for an arm. He can rifle that thing anywhere on the field. Sometimes, though, his accuracy, because of that rifling, is a little off. Goff, I thought he got emotionally rattled at times, but his accuracy was much, much better, and he could not rifle the ball all around. Their overall numbers, I think if you do a deep dive, the first 8 or 9 years of Goff, first 8 or 9 years of Stafford, they're eerily similar. So their approach to the game is different. The end results are fairly similar. Phil, Oh, yeah, M. Oh, I'll go with that. Rock, Coach Rock, good morning. All back at you. Mary Smith, good morning. Duke Crew and Lions fans. Stay safe, stay cool, and have a great day. Words well said there, Mary. Hopefully you stay out of the heat, my friend. Phil, dang, I'll go with that. Paul, Hall of Fame. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Duke Crew Hall of Fame. I think maybe every June when it's a slower time for news, maybe we put in X amount of people into the Hall of Fame and have a little bit of a Hall of Fame. Moodscar Blade, Dan, I have an idea for the Hall. All right, let me know, man. You got my number. Go ahead and text me or call me, whatever. Miles Margaret, the DC Hall of Fame, the Duke Crew Hall of Fame it is. Haters House. Hey, talk about something I haven't seen in a hot second. Good morning from Los Angeles. Go Lions. Man, haters, what's it like out there? Is it hotter than it is here in the Midwest? If it is, man, I hope you stay hydrated, man. JDC, the Tree of Destiny, you got to go with that. Moodscar, the Duke Crew Hall of Fame, 100%. Johnny Hassani Madley, good morning, sir. Back at you both. Robert, greetings, salutations, always to you, my friend. KSJ, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew, and with you. And let's see, Miles Mark, I nominate the Tree. The Tree of Destiny probably does need to go in the Duke Crew Hall of Fame, 100%. Paperback fan, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew Hall of Fame, dare to dream. Hey, we'll have to come up with some parameters how to do this, but I think it's a great idea to honor the glorious Duke Crew. Bo, a Tree of Destiny for the Duke Crew Hall of Fame. Probably got to make that happen. Matt the Gray, I'm at Big Bear Lake in Cal on vacation, and it's 48 degrees. Man, you are enjoying life compared to most of the states right now. Coach Rock, going to go out and mow this morning. It's the only free time I have this week, so put on the thinking hat where there's power through woo. Woo! Yeah, where there's power, and yes, do it early in the day when it's a little bit cooler. Having worked on lawn services before, 1,000 years ago, I know they put a big thing when it was going to be hotter like this. Let's try to get as much done before 11 or noon as we can to try to beat the majority of the heat. Remember, I'm completely miserable. San Diego, hey, try to make it as good as you can. There you go. Brent, Tree of Destiny, thumbs up. Miles Margaret, laughing out loud. Matt the Great. Phil, I was the first moderator. Broski, tell me I'm a communist. Hey, Broski says bad things to everybody. I think if God showed up, Broski would probably try to talk smack to him. So go with that. JDC, sit high in the saddle, Phil, Lions Talk Livers. Well said, Phil, communist. I knew we were going with that. Hookadoo, morning, Duke Crew, one pride. Morning, Miles Meyer, Brett DeWitt, Mr. Hassan. Dang, I overslept today. It happens, man. It happens. Let's see, Gary. Morning, everyone. Back at you, Miles Meyer. I remember Phil. JK, Tesla is HBO Max. There you go. Okay. Detroit D. Duke Crew. What up, Doe? What up, D? How you doing today? Staying cool, hopefully. Miles Meyer, laughing out loud. Hookadoo, rise and shine. There you go. Brent, morning, Hookadoo, and Miles Meyer. Grit wins. It always wins. Miles Meyer, hiya, Brent DeWitt. Coach Rock, morning, Miles Meyer. Take grit to get through these hot days. Yes, it does, man. Hey, but to be honest, other than the last day or two, it's been a very cool, in my opinion, summer for the most part. JDC, go Lions, go Tigers, go everybody in Detroit. Johnny L, it's going to be a gritty season for us. I'll go with that. Phil, I remember the OG Circle K. Yes, it does, man. I wish that place was still there, man. I loved it to death. Jennifer, good morning, all of you Hall of Famers. Yeah, we're all Hall of Famers, aren't we? Mark, who believes in the Brad Holmes movement? I'm down with that. Phil, Dan received the first Duke Crew guitar. Yes, I do have it right here and over here in the Duke Crew office, or I guess that's what we could say. The Hall of Dew. How about that? Miles Barker, Coach Rock, you know it. You got to check on neighbors today. Yeah, check on people if you know, especially if they're a little bit older, if they're out spending too much time outside in the heat. Lionel, greetings, salutations, Duke Crew! Exclamation point. Most critics agree, have one of the top two rosters in the NFL, Lightning and Thundercats. Ho! And I'll go with that. Yes, I would say the Lions are really well set. Dre Day, Sewell, top offensive player, is debatable. The offense isn't anywhere without their quarterback, but missing one of their O-line can still be substantial. I'll go with that, 100%. Phil, Moonscar Blade for Lions Talk Live Hall of Famer. We'll have to get some parameters for it. Miles Margaret, it was a gorgeous guitar, Phil. It really was, man. It was indeed, 100%. Phil, thanks. Yeah, you do great work on that. Yeah, I think you know that, Phil. But, yeah, if you guys don't know, Phil does great work, building guitars. Moonscar Blade, Phil, is there a second Duke Crew guitar? Ooh, inquiring minds want to know. Bo, the Duke Crew, tell. All right. Phil, maybe. All right. Well, Amy Spray, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Ready for the preseason with, what about you? Exclamation point. I wonder what Sheila is doing this summer. Hopefully staying cool. How about Sheila? Woo! Go Lions. You want a Sheila woo? Let's see if I can scroll down the screen and give you one. 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, Phil. WSN has one and Crunch Time has one. Okay. Phil, Lions Talk Live has the OG. There you go. JK Davenport needs to stay healthy. No guarantee. Moonscar, if you build it, yes, they will come. Dre Day, Davenport is going to shock the NFL. I really hope so, man. I think it'd be great for the kid, 100%. Brent, if Kyle Allen is the answer, you're asking the wrong question. I'll go with that. Moonscar, nice. Phil, it's built. Yes, it is. He built the Duke Crew guitar. Miles Meyer, I like Raymond. Exclamation point. He's going to get poached right away. If he's cut, somebody's going to pick him up probably pretty quick. Yes. Miles Meyer, if they release him, I agree with that. Hookadoo, Moonscar, they will come. Johnny L, and yes, the Godfather is in the house. Laughing out loud. Phil, will the Lions get more conservative? I don't think so. I mean, who knows until we see it on the field, but I don't think they are. I don't know if they're going to gamble with as many trick plays. That I could see them dialing back, but I think their play calling is still going to be strong. Moonscar, Kyle Allen, there you go. JK, I see Tesla has the practice squad roster. Ooh, if he makes the practice squad roster, he won't be here very long, I think, JK. JDC, tick, tick, tick. It's woo time. There you go. Phil, I remember when Jen was just a roommate. Yes, indeed. There you go. Vince E, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Woo! And saved you. Miles Meyer. Mad Hassanin will be all he can be as a rookie given a chance on the field. I think he's going to get some chances. I think he's going to earn some chances. Phil, I remember when the dogs were puppies, and now they're not, man. Yes, indeed. They're growing on up. Phil, I remember when Dad used crayons to write articles. Yeah, I probably did that. I see your next comment. Both the few, the proud, the Duke Crew. I'll take that. Dan, yes, indeed. I am a dad, too, though. JK, Texans were trash last season. They weren't the greatest, but they weren't bad. They weren't great. They were somewhere kind of in the middle. Look at it. I said it once, and I'll say it again. Amanda Hassanin from the phone call draft day. This guy has enough grit to sell. Yes, indeed. And I think he's going to make others better, not just himself better. Phil, I remember when Dan's green screen was just a thought. Yeah, I remember everything was. I didn't do green screens. I had a program that edited it. Yeah, the show's come a long way as my information or knowledge base for how to do these things has gotten better. I remember when the Tower of Destiny was a washcloth. I think it still is. Hookadoo. Bo and the Lions aim high. Oh, yeah. JK, Washington Redskins are going to be a force. Yes, they will. Mary Smith. Everyone is going to see that Hooker is going to shut the haters down. I hope you are right with that. Down, I think he's going to show up this year because he knows this is probably going to be a better or bust. Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. That's my personal thoughts. I like the guy. I know, Mary, to your point, a lot of people wonder why he wasn't made the number 2 quarterback for the playoffs. And the only thing I am going to say is I think it's just because Teddy Two Gloves or Bridgewater just simply had more playing experience in the NFL. And the Lions didn't want, any kind of situation where Hooker's first meaningful snaps, not end of the game, garbage snaps, to be a playoff game. So I respect them for doing that and protecting the development mentally and physically for the kid. Phil, remover when Dan's Tesla was AA batteries. There you go. Remember? There you go. Yeah. I remember before the Tesla. Let's see. Moonscar, Duke Crew Hall of Fame. Jacket's not gold, but Mountain Dew green and lime green. Oh, that's a good call there. JDC, everything is a blur. It happens, man. JK, Lions franchise 5+ years ago was waste management. It was indeed. Dre Day, question LA's GM. If they kept Jared Goff and their draft picks, LA might have had the next dynasty instead of the one-and-done Super Bowl. There's real evidence for that. I know I've talked about it a little bit on the show with everybody before. I think they would have won the Super Bowl with Matt Stafford or Jared Goff. I just think they were that good. The only thing I would say, and this isn't a slam on Stafford, it just is what it is. Stafford at that point, think about where he was emotionally, confidence. He'd been through it for a decade or more with Detroit Lions. Lost nothing but playoff games. In some big moments, games, didn't always play his best. That first year in LA, there were some games where he started throwing, he had like a streak of like 5 or 6 games where he threw a pick 6. And then as you guys all probably remember in the playoffs, they're playing, the 49ers, and he panicked one time in a playoff game between 2 even teams. That's all you're playing for. You're trying to force the guy into one big mistake. He throws basically a punt down the field, and I don't remember who the 49ers safety was. All he had to do was just wave his hands, fair catch it, and the game was probably over. Instead, the guy drops it. So you go from the Rams losing in the playoffs, not even making the Super Bowl, in which case that entire trade, everyone said that was the most boneheaded move ever. But, the 49ers safety did drop it. They end up blowing the game. Rams win, get the Super Bowl and win it. But if that doesn't happen, probably a whole lot of people are questioning those trades in L.A. To your point, though, my point, I think Goff, if he was given more time to mature as an individual, let alone a player, he probably would have won a Super Bowl there. But I guess at this point, we'll never know. Kurt Steele, what up, though, Duke Crew? What's up, man of Steel? Gary, R. All right, I'll go with R. Johnny L, good morning, Kurt Steele. Kurt Steele, good morning, Johnny. Kerry, good morning, Kurt. Hookadoo. All right, here we go. Good morning, Kurt Steele. Have you had to send anybody to the principal's office yet? Ooh, inquiring minds want to know. Brent, salute, Kurt. Thanks, man of Steel. A free for all. William Clay Ford hired Millen at the instance of Bill Jr., at the insistence of Bill Jr. Yeah, he did, man. And I know that didn't sit well with a lot of people. I've said it before on this show, just, being a full-time reporter back then, covering the team all the time, I had a lot of different opportunities to talk to different people in the organization, even some of the people mentioned here. And I'll say this, Matt Millen 100% knew football. He just listened to the wrong people instead of listening to himself. I think if he would have listened to himself, the Lions probably would have been pretty decent. I don't know if they would have been, Super Bowl champs or anything like that, but they would have been drastically different than what they became under his tutelage. All right, Kurt Steele, Hookadoo, laughing out loud. My class starts in the fall, so not yet. There you go. He's getting ready for it, though. Phil, good morning, Professor Steele. Bo, the grass is greener on the shiny new toy syndrome. That was the same old Lions way of thinking, gone for good. Let's hope so, man. And you are right. Everything was always better if it came from somewhere else. Kurt Steele, Phil, good morning. JK, he was a scout. No wonder. Brad Holmes, yeah, he was a scout. I mean, if you go through his resume, he's gone from the NBA being a PR person, coming on up. We all know it. He worked for Avis, rental cars or something like that. Had to do promotions there. Eventually landed in the NFL. Did PR work there, so public relations work. Got into the media side of things with the respective teams. Then ended up getting, slowly into the scouting department. And the tough part with scouting, Jen knows I would love to return to being a full-time scout. The problem is, I would have to go back overseas, live in China for parts of the year, the Middle East, etc. And she just has no interest in doing that. I love it to death, though. I love meeting the people, watching people, evaluating people, and stuff like that. I love coaching too. I love all my jobs, though. All right, let's see, JDC, the grass is always greener on the other side of the hill. It's also damp and unsmokable to stay out. Stay put. There you go. Kurt, so I didn't know Dan was a doctor, has a PhD. Yeah, about 10 years ago or so, I earned my PhD. And, I really don't advertise it. I think a few people know, but that's about it. Phil, pound higher and deeper. There you go. JK, JDC, the hills have eyes. Yes, they do. Miles Meyer, great review of Holmes. Good job. Thank you for that. Sometimes you get something right. Bo, Coach, and Kurt, the Dew Crew PhD elite. There you go. And hey, probably accurate. Trey, rise and shine, Dew Crew. Talk about somebody I haven't seen in a hot second, man. Good to see you, Trey. Only person I can say right now is Terry Landon, the GM for the Pistons, for the moves he made this year and for the team that I think on the brink of going to the next round. You're 100% right, Trey. I don't watch the Pistons nearly as much as I did in the 80s, 90s, or early 2000s. But when you go in and watch them, you see the commonality with the players they have. Where before, for, I hate saying it, but about 20 years, it seemed to me they were just picking pieces that didn't mesh well just because, all right, this guy may be talented, but is he similar and blend with this guy and that guy and this guy? I thought they were a hot mess. I am glad as a basketball person, as somebody who grew up loving the Pistons, seeing them, find some success again. But to your point, I think they're doing a lot of very wise evaluating of the players to make sure you're getting the right people that fit your mantra. Phil, anyone who works in a kitchen is your hero? Man, you ain't wrong there, man. Kitchen, anything to do with maybe mechanical, stuff like that. Trim River, good morning, Professor Steele. Moon Scar Blake, Coach Dan loves Ricky Martin's She Bangs. There you go, She Bangs. She's a bang. Also a huge Menudo fan. Yes, indeed. Phil, no Bears. There you go. Kurt Steele, Trim River, good morning, my guy. JK, I'd see JDC, JK. The eyes are also known as Big Brothers. There you go. The Roan Lions are as strong off the. All right. Yeah, they are strong, man. I think they're strong across the board this year. I think their depth is going to be insanely deep. All right, JK, yes, sir, JDC. Kerry, 4 years ago, I said it takes 5 years to rebuild a team. We've hit that point. It's that time now. Let's get go on it now. I'm all in and ready for it. Maul and devour were the teams to chase. There you go. Let's go beat up on everybody. I'm down with that. Let's be bully ball here. Kurt Sale the Rona, what up, though? Okay, the Duke Crew equals Band of Brothers. That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. Bo, Overwell, JDC, and Sisters. The Trim Reaper, maturity isn't an age. It is a destination indeed. Miles, Margaret, Jets, David. Our teams are allowed entrance in songs. If yes, I suggest Detroit Rock City, exclamation point, Go Lions. Woo! That might be a good one for them. Bootscar Blade, arcade games like NBA Jam, NFL Blitz. Yeah, 100% NFL Blitz. That's one I was thinking of. They have it as a classic arcade in 2 paws. There you go. There you go. I'll check that out. I think there's one in Gobles too. Phil, owner's kid was calling the shots according to Madden ratings. You might be right on that. JK NFL Blitz. Yes, that's a throwback. The Ronin. Greetings, salutations. My jam was wreckable. The Lions are as strong as the front office as they are on the field for the first time in my life. Yeah, I think you're well said there. In the 90s, while I think they had strengths in the front office and on the field, there was just such a divide between the players and the coaches. The coaches in the front office, I think that's why you always had the inconsistency with them. They'd be playoffs one year, 3 wins the next year, 6 wins the next year, and then playoffs again. Or David, when will they wear the black uniforms? ACDC back in black. There you go. I'm down with that. They're on Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, that was a big one for a lot of people growing up. Tecmo Bowl for sure. Gary, rotation, score. Woo! I'll take that. Lions bad guy. NFL 95 with Joe Montana first in fave football game. There you go. That was a good one. JK 2K 25 college football upset me. It happens. Lions bad guy. NFL 95 for Sega Gen. Yeah, I remember the second. Man, that was the first one where I thought football games really started leaping forward. Phil, I've been cutting my lawn after this show. Probably a wise move. David, yes, back in black with black uniforms. We might see those this year. The one I type as bad as you read, Dan. Hey, way to help keep up with me, man. Thank you. JK, White Russian from Cutwater. JDC, Dre Forge rocks, and he rolls. Hookadoo, you're not the only one, the Ronin? Yes, it happens, man. It happens. JK, I'll go with that. Phil, Dan is the only host that gives his phone number out. Yeah, that might be accurate. I have no idea. The Ronin, I made the Monday AM Duke Crew on this hottest day of the year. Exclamation point. What a great start. Yeah, and I hope this is the hottest day of the year, and then slowly trickles down. Me, myself, and I like cold weather. Jen loves hot weather. Go figure. The Ronin, Hookadoo facts. Ronin, Dan is the only content creator that takes the time to read all of his subscribers' comments. I try to do what I can. I can't always say I get everyone, but I try. JDC Motor City Duke Crew, back at you. Pierce, so if I don't make the Duke Crew Hall of Fame, we all know whose fault it is. There you go. Hey, maybe you don't make it on the first ballot. Maybe you're a second or third ballot. It happens, man. I mean, Herman Moore, he's been on the ballot for decades now. It sounds like he's got some level of chance now. Miles Mark, Hater's House, 710. Good to see you. Grit, there you go. Hookadoo, do you know who did it, Pierce? We know who did it. Brent Pierce, laughing out loud. Pierce, Hookadoo, DDI. Kerry, smash that like button. Like the Lions are going to smash the seat week 2 of the Teddies in. There we go. We'll beat up on the Chicago Bears. They're on my guy, the Sarge. Yeah, I got to try to get him back on the show. I get it. He isn't always a morning person. JC Bears, the Monsters of the Midway. I'll go with that. Trim Reaper, the extender cheating ref ensure the OKC finals victory. It happens, man. I heard about it. I didn't watch it last night, but I did hear about it. Stephanie, good morning, Duke Crew. Woo! And back at you, Steven. Let's see, Coach Rock, Coach Dan. Coach, do you still have the phone you started this with its prime Hall of Fame gear? Man, that's a good question. Is it still the same phone? I would think not. I want to say I replaced it. Like, when they give you a free upgrade last year or something like that. And I had the other one for like 4 years or something like that. Big D, Reaper, I thought it was only one who felt that too. The refs favored OKC. I'm going to leave it alone with the NBA. The NBA now is not what the NBA I grew up with. I hate to say about it. There may be some bias in it. William, greetings, salutations, Dan the Duke Crew. It's 56 and partly cloudy and dark here in Portland, Oregon. Go Lions, one pride. Woo! Man, that is my kind of weather, and I know Jen hates it. Gary, Lions will make them bleed to the bone with Jamarco Jones. I like that guy, and I hope he rises to the occasion. Brett, Lions are sweeping the Teddy Bears. Oh, yeah, sweep the leg, I'd say. Hookadoo, Coach Rock, the hour of the microphone. No, the microphone is definitely different from when I started. I didn't even have a microphone when I started. Gary Brett DeWitt agreed 100%. Hookadoo, Hoover, all right. Miles Mark, gotta head out. Stay cool, friends. One Pride, back at you. JDC, Detroit Lions rebuilding since 1957. Stay tuned to Coach Dan. Lions Talk Live for more updates. Go Lions. Thank you for that shameless plug. Hookadoo, later, Miles Mark, take some water. Exclamation point, Grit wins. Yes, it does. Brett, Hat and Beard Show, Monday through Wednesday, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., another Lions podcast, folks. Yeah, there's so many good ones out there, man. Go support them all. JDC Magic 8 Ball says, drink more water. I surely will. Gary, happy Monday. Watch out for that heat. Stay hydrated. Wear a cap. Stay safe. Peace. Back at you. Silver, good morning, Coach everyone. And with you, Bootscar Blade, we haven't seen her in a long time. Anyways, wonder what happened. Time change has changed twice. I nominate Bit Lady for Duke Crew Hall of Fame nominee. Where could she be? Yeah, I don't know if I've seen her in like a year or so. I want to say she was like from the Philippines or something like that. But I haven't seen her in a hot second. Gary, Silver, good morning. Hookadoo. Well, Dan, it's about 13,000 people know now you have a PhD. It's true. Somebody does know, I guess. Brent, Bootscar Blade, yes, sir. Bitley, hope you are well wherever you are. 100%. Bo, as I recall, Bitley told us she was changing jobs and wouldn't be able to comment for a while. Been a minute. Yeah, I want to say it's been like a year or maybe even longer than that. Cindy Manley, understand. I which wind where you get to the Super Bowl. I will sing Walk Like an Egyptian. Yeah, if you will sing that, we will put that on air, my friend. We will make you infamous across the World Wide Web. JDC, Moonscar Blade, true that. Bit Lady, yeah, she was a good one. She had a good eye for football. Hassani Madley, good one, sir. Exclamation point. Hookadoo, yep, Bit Lady, Duke Crew Hall of Fame. Trim Reaper, for all of us here at Lions Talk Live, stay hydrated, planet Earth. Yes, stay hydrated indeed. JDC, the Lions Talk Livers before me, Hall of Fame. I'll go with that. Phil, most unique show on YouTube. I do what I can. I think we all make it work. Phil Sarge is the best guest host. Hey, I got to try to get him back on, but again, with his jobs and everything, it's tough because of the time. Herbert Moore, great water seer, not Hall of Famer though, says Thomas. I'll go with that. The Central Scrutinized greatest salutations, coach and Duke Crew. Remember, only 6 months until December. Burr, hey, that's my time of year, the winter. Phil, I miss the Lamborghini in the garage, Dan. I miss it too, man. But you know what? Hey, the wife said no mas. Bo, happy trails, Duke Crew. All done, dusted for another Monday. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Woodscar Blade. Go watch real basketball. I offer WNBA and Papa Red Wolves varsity basketball. Hey, we'll be out there for our final time this summer tonight. And thankfully, it's later in the day where hopefully it's a little cooler. Brent, Kurt Steele, Brent DeWitt, salute, exclamation point. Phil, are you figured out the mute button? The show works. Hey, after I figured it out, yeah, it probably makes it a lot easier to listen. The mute button, that is. Thomas, NBA not worth watching. 30-foot jump shots league, boring. I'll go with that. Michael D, thanks for another great show. Exclamation point. Anytime, my friend. Thanks for being here. Coach Rock, heading out to Mo. Now see you in the morning. We'll see you then. Brett Bit Lady was in Thailand, I think. I knew it was something like that. I don't exactly remember, but yeah, I think you might be right, Brent. JC, Phil, laughing out loud, classic stuff. Phil, Dr. Dan, there you go. Not that kind of doctor, though. Gary, happy trails to you. Until we meet again, we'll see you next time, Gary. Okay, that's right, Brent, it was Thailand. Okay, there we go. JDC, happy trails, go Lions, exclamation point, victory. Let's go get those victories. Thomas Berg, hey, Dan, exclamation point. Cool and 52 in Anchorage. Your show keeps me alive. Great work. Hey, glad to have you here in Anchorage. I'm assuming Alaska, so great time. I want to visit Alaska. We're trying to work on that. Dre Day, Chicago. I'm down with that. Indeed. All right, guys, if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you would be so kind before checking out, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. Have a good day. Stay hydrated, and we'll see you guys all on the next Lions Talk Live. See you guys.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?